What's up guys, my name's Brandon and today marks 1 week since the release of iOS 13 Beta 6, and since Apple is so unpredictable, it seems that we may be going back to a 2-week cycle, at least for Beta 6 and Beta 7. So in the meantime, I wanted to give you guys a follow-up video on how iOS 13 Developer Beta 6, aka Public Beta 5, has been running for me on all of my devices. So I installed iOS 13 Developer Beta 6 on my iPhone XR, my iPhone 7, and my iPad Pro, and on my daily driver, the iPhone XS Max here, I have the public beta profile installed, so this has been running iOS 13 public beta 5. So before I talk to you guys about my experience in terms of the battery life, the performance, connectivity, and all that, let's go over some of the additional new features and changes that I did not cover in my initial video. Now the first thing that's apparently been changed is that the 2 times faster app launches have now been implemented into Beta 6, aka public beta 5. So Apple talked about this at the keynote, basically how your stock applications on your phone will launch up to 2 times faster than it did in previous versions. And I've tried downloading and deleting and re-downloading applications like the Books application, calculator, and things like that. And I personally don't notice a huge difference in speed. It does seem a little bit faster. Now keep in mind, you do have to delete the application and then re-download it to notice the 2 times faster app launches. But there have been numerous people reporting that the apps do launch faster. The stock applications do launch faster here in Beta 6. Now another great new feature here in public beta 5 is that you can now measure audio levels from third-party headphones. So if we go to our settings, go to privacy, health, and then headphone audio levels right there, you can see that we have include other headphones here an option so that we can actually track the audio levels of our third-party headphones. So I've actually been using this. I do use over-the-ear headphones that are not just like, AirPods or something like that. If we go into my health application and go to hearing, you can see right here, we have the little graph of when I was listening to music and it shows my exposure is okay. And if we go down to filter by headphone type, you can actually see my headphones right there. I didn't even listen to my AirPods today, but you can see that my other headphones there, the Taltronics, I have been listening to, and you can see the decibel readings from those. So you can now read the audio levels from third-party headphones thanks to iOS 13 Beta 6, aka Public Beta 5. So live wallpapers now work on the iPhone XR. So we have my iPhone XR over here, and if we go ahead over to our settings, wallpaper, choose new wallpaper. You can see that, press on the screen to see this wallpaper animate. You can see there the car is moving in the background and things like that. So really cool that this is now included on the iPhone XR, and it's not just limited to 3D Touch compatible devices. So now inside of Apple Music, we have live local radio stations. So if you search for a local radio station, you can't actually find it in the radio tab for some reason. It should pull up your location and be able to show it there. But if you go ahead and search for it, you can see there, if you search for it, you can find the radio stations right there. Depending on where you live, different ones will pop up and you can search for your local ones there as well. So I'm trying to use all devices for these videos, so we're going to switch over to the iPhone 7 here for the next feature. If we go into our Safari and we go ahead and 3D touch or haptic touch on a link, if you scroll down, you can see we have a new option there called hide link previews. Go ahead and tap on that, and if we go ahead and 3D touch again, oh, you just saw it crash there. It's actually been pretty rare on all devices except for the iPhone 7, and I'm going to talk about that later in the video. And actually, when I go back into Safari, that page isn't even there anymore. It takes me back to the login page. So very strange bug here in Beta 6. So it seems that when you try to 3D touch on a link on the iPhone 7, it does crash Safari. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the iPhone XS Max here so I can show you the demo. Okay, so it seems like Safari is actually having issues on the iPhone XS Max now. So I did not have this before, but for some reason the iPhone XS Max, when I pull up Safari, it's just blank, it freezes, I can't press anything in here. But you can see here it locks up and I can't actually do anything. So there we go, finally got back to normal. That was really weird. I have not experienced that once with the iPhone XS Max or any other device besides the iPhone 7. So let's see if 3D touching works on this or if it crashes it. Okay, so it doesn't crash on the iPhone XS Max. I didn't expect it to, but for some reason, okay, so there we go. It does crash when you go ahead and hide the links and then try to click on it again to change it. It does crash Safari for some reason. So very strange. Let me test it out on the iPhone XR now to see if it's that way across all devices. So we're gonna 3D touch, hide link previews, and then 3D touch again, show link previews. Okay, so it doesn't crash on the iPhone XR, but for some reason on the iPhone 7 and on the iPhone XS Max, it crashed. And again, I did not have that issue before. For some reason though, it is acting up today and it is crashing. So just be aware of that. If you are using Safari, if you do use Safari a lot, there are some issues here with this latest beta. But needless to say, that is a new feature down there, the hide link previews inside of Safari. So Apple Login is now live on the Apple website. So if you go ahead and try to log into your Apple ID on apple.com, you will get this prompt right here where you can log in with with Apple. It says, do you want to sign in to appleid.apple.com with your Apple ID? And once you click on continue, let it scan your face, and then it says done, and it logs you in just like that. So that is the Apple login that Apple was talking about at WWDC. Really great, really quick login. Again, it's very privacy oriented as well, and I will touch on that more when the final version of iOS 13 gets released and it's implemented more across the web in general, not just on apple.com. So now, aside from that bug that you guys witnessed firsthand here inside of Safari, there have been a couple of other bugs in iOS 13 beta 6, aka public beta 5, but thankfully most of the bugs that I've been reporting on have been resolved, but there are still some that linger around. Now, one of the big ones that I've noticed lately is that keyboard clicks, the sound of keyboard clicks, are just very, very inconsistent. So sometimes they'll be very loud, sometimes they'll be very quiet. So I can press one key, it'll be quiet, the next key will be super loud. Can't really demonstrate this on video just because it happens at random times, but I've seen numerous people report this as well on Reddit, on Twitter. People have messaged me on Instagram about it. So I know this is actually an issue here in this beta. Hopefully it does get resolved, because it is kind of annoying to have your keyboard clicks be super loud at random times. Now, also, if we go into the App Store and go to apps and go ahead and scroll down, you will see how the pictures over here on the left-hand side, for some reason, are very low quality. So they're not as high quality as they usually are inside the App Store. I'm not sure if that's an issue with the actual iPhone picking up what device I'm using, so it's serving a lower quality image for a lower resolution device. I'm not sure, but for the top free and the top paid apps there, it is a lower quality image inside of the App Store. I've also had multiple bugs inside of the Instagram application that would say like could not open or could not find a photo in Instagram, and it would pop up just right when I open up Instagram. I didn't even click on anything, and it said something about could not open or could not find photo, and there would be like 4 pop-ups in a row that I would just have to keep clicking OK on to get to the actual application. So I'm sure that's just an issue with Instagram itself. It will get updated, for full iOS 13 support someday, but for now we are still having issues inside of the Instagram application. Now, as far as performance goes, performance has been pretty good overall, but before recording this video, I did have a very strange random respring here on my iPhone XS Max, and when I came back from the random respring, which by the way, it randomly resprung just from me taking the case off of the phone. I think it may have pressed like to take a screenshot or something like that. And when I came back to the home screen, it was completely blank. So you can see up at the top, I do have my battery indicator, my Wi-Fi, my time, and things like that, but there are no icons on the home screen. So yes, it looks kind of cool, but it did go back to normal once I locked the phone and unlocked it again. But it was very strange. First time I've encountered that on any of the betas in iOS 13. So very strange, but it wasn't really anything bad because it did fix itself after a lock and an unlock. But yeah, like I said, other than that, everything has been fine. It's very fluid. The animations are fine. There's not really any other random resprings besides what you guys have seen in this video with Safari. Thankfully, all of the multitasking issues have been solved in iOS 13. That seems for good. There's no more random crashing or random respringing from multitasking and going through windows like this. It's the same situation with iPadOS. I do have an issue sometimes where you can see right there, it's blank when it goes into the dock. When the icon of the application I'm in, I go back to the home screen. Sometimes it will actually show up. I think it's when I pull up the dock and then go home. Sometimes it will be blank down there in the dock, or it will just take a second for it to show up. So that is kind of annoying, but there is not really anything to complain about as far as performance here on iPadOS. Now, as far as battery life goes, battery life has been pretty good so far on public beta 5. If we go into my settings, my battery right here, you can see my battery chart right here for the last 24 hours. You can see I was charging it, but I have been using my phone quite a lot, testing things out over the last 10 days. Let's see what it's looking like there. So about 8.5 hours of screen on time, about an hour and 12 of screen off time there on average. And I would say that the battery life here is the exact same as public beta 4, aka developer beta 5. Really no change at all in battery life. However, I will say that the battery life on the iPhone 7 is not very great. The battery life on my iPhone 7 and performance has really decreased over the past couple of betas. I'm not really sure why. It was really good in the early betas, but lately it's been really acting up in terms of battery drain and also performance issues. Again, it started with Safari, but that was also on the iPhone XS Max, so I don't think it's necessarily an issue with the iPhone 7 anymore, but it seems that this beta and the previous beta have just kind of taken it down a notch on the iPhone 7. So hopefully the next beta, beta 7, since I am on the developer beta on this phone, hopefully that does solve some things and make this phone very fast again. Now, as far as connectivity goes, this is also the first beta where I had issues with connectivity, and it was an issue with Wi-Fi. So my Wi-Fi for some reason was acting up, and I was having having issues with Wi-Fi here on public beta 5. So sometimes it would either just show as no connection, like I would get an alert saying that my internet, I don't have connection to the internet with my Wi-Fi that I have selected, or it would just randomly disconnect and I would have to go into airplane mode and reconnect back to that Wi-Fi to get it back working again. So I'm not sure what that's about, but hopefully that does get fixed. As far as LTE goes, I have not had any issues with LTE or my cell service or anything like that. So that is the good news. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. That was my follow-up on iOS 13 beta 6. Now, when can we expect iOS 13 beta 7 for developers? So that's most likely coming early next week, possibly tomorrow or Friday, since Apple is unpredictable, but those days are generally pretty rare for beta releases. So my money would be on early next week, probably on Monday or Tuesday, possibly Wednesday though, since Wednesday was when it got released last week. So if Apple was going to switch over to exactly 2 weeks, it would be Wednesday next week, but honestly it could be any day now, any weekday now. Now I am going to California on Saturday and I will be gone for a few days, so I won't be here on Monday or Tuesday of next week, so I may miss a beta release. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up now in case you're going to ask me where my video is. It will be up later in the week, but I'm not going to be here for when it actually gets released right away. That's pretty much it for iOS 13 beta 6 and public beta 5. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. Let me know all your thoughts and your experiences down in the comment section below. Let me know how these betas have been running for you on your device. Tell me what device you're on, your bugs, your performance, anything you want to share, leave it down in the comment section below. And of course, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and of course subscribe so you don't miss any of my future iOS 13 videos. So anyways guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.